such a simple action, right? I mean, it's just one bottle. But the reality is that millions of people do the same thing every single day. And this isn't just a hypothetical case, because in Mexico alone, it estimates that 500 of people throw these things.
And maybe this example seems kind of obvious, right? It is really easy to think that plastic bottles contaminate. So let's take a look for something even smaller, such as erasing a part of your homework. Do you remember those tiny crumbs that the eraser usually leave after you use it? Exactly, those ones that you usually brush off into the floor. Well, those ones also contaminate.
Now, these examples are just littles, like is the things that you usually listen in all the tech talks that they say that save the water, separate your trash, and recycle messages. But no one really talks about the things you do every day. You know the famous habits. Who here has used artificial intelligence to finish your homework quickly?
Well, the problem is that we are unconscious about the real impact that making unnecessary questions or generating endless images can have in the environment. Since it is estimated that an average conversation with artificial intelligence it uses around 500 milliliters of water. And probably you're thinking, that is nothing, right? It is just a bottle of water. But the real problem is that while you are chatting with AI, asking questions or searching for advice, thousands of people are doing the same, increasing the demand of energy and water that is needed to regulate the temperature of those systems, putting more pressure on ecosystems and destruction of natural resources, in this case, water.
Now, let's talk about all these talks actually affect us. I'm sure we all have some kind of conference about saving water, neural lighting, or turning off the lights when we are not using them. They might sound repetitive, but how many of those habits have you truly adopted? Those small actions that, if everyone did them, could do a big difference.
Going back to the first example, I am sure that everyone here have heard the said statements thousands of times. Don't buy plastic bottles at the cafeteria, bring your own one. It is easier, you can refill it over and over again, and it is better for the environment. But even though I am sure that everyone here has bought at least one plastic bottle, maybe that day you forgot your thermo or you just want a different flavor, like horchata. And since it's weird to have horchata in your house, you decide to buy it. But even though we are aware that that plastic bottle will end contaminated the planet.
Those bottles are made of PET, which is composed with carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And when exposed to heat or sunlight, the PET can silently degrade and release chemicals like phthalates. Tiny plastic particles can also break down during the production, the transport, and the end of the liquid and in the environment. And that bottle, it ends somewhere on the planet, in a forest, in an ocean, and maybe it can affect hundreds of environments.
Another example, it could be in your classroom. Normally teachers pull down the curtains and turn on the lights, but why we use artificial light when we have the natural one? Considering the current situation, it is essential to save energy and all the resources that we can't. And maybe you're thinking, but the sunlight hits me directly. But you can just adjust a little bit the curtains or change your set. I mean, it's not that complicated.
But this doesn't just apply to habits, it also applies to we consume. How many of us have bought a piece of clothing you only wore once, or something really you didn't even need? Many of these things are are go to the trash after we use it, or you know, or constant need satisfaction, approval, often overweights of sense of responsibility that we call consumerism.
And it is not only about buying unnecessary things, but also continue supporting the companies that we are aware that the only thing that they do is damage the environment because they don't follow the correct procedures or basically they don't care about legal frameworks. It is time to start blaming the system or big corporations. I'm not saying that they are innocent because they aren't. But if we want to make a change, we need to recognize something really important. The market functions based on demand.
As consumers, we share that responsibility. It's our job to look and support sustainable alternatives. We invite you to be responsible consumers and before buying something, ask yourselves, did I really want this? Or do I need it? And who am I supporting by buying this? Saying it started doing. Or I agree?
Because all of this is not just saying I agree or you are correct. I will start doing these things. Let's stop being double moral and truly act. Let's leave behind those empty promises that we will never follow. Because let's be honest, how many of those habits or recommendations are really part of our daily life? Because it is not just doing the things 1 week or 2 weeks. It is it is about doing those recommendations part of our habits if we want to have a real impact. Let's leave behind the double standards and start living with our own values and beliefs. Because I am sure that everyone here wants a future in this planet, or at least for future generations. So let's start being responsible consumers and citizens. Because when it comes to protecting our planet, no action is too small and no one is too small to make a big difference. Thank you.